that is because of the support of your families and your friends, living your values and supported by your faith. That's why we do what we do. It's all about you. You know, we're really doing something that's truly extraordinary. And I want everybody here to appreciate it. Those of you that had the opportunity to represent the department in conferences, meetings, workshops, whether they be in-state or out-of-state, you know what it feels like. When you walk into a room, it's like Roger Federer walking onto center court at Arthur Ashe Stadium. It's instant respect. You come from Utah, we want to learn from you. How did you do this? You know, and I experienced this recently. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to New Mexico. And I was down there to share some thoughts and some experiences of all the great work that's been done here. And I didn't know this, but Tom Church, who's the Secretary of the New Mexico Department of Transportation, he was there to give the opening remarks and, you know, the welcome to New Mexico and the rah, rah, rah. And he goes through his little spiel, his prepared comments, and then Tom goes off script. Tom starts to talk about how he was a little nervous. He didn't know that I would be there representing UDOT. And he said this because every time New Mexico does something new, because Utah had already done it. And I find it, you know, it's gratifying to hear that. And at times, it's a little embarrassing when it kind of goes on a little bit. But I always remember it's because of the work that you do. It's truly amazing. And you have a long history of doing amazing things. Just think about this. It's been 20 years since we started the design build job on I-15 here in Salt Lake County. 20 years. Who would have thought? You know, I was working at Region 2 at the time, back in 1996, and I was working with a gentleman I've talked to you about before, Byron Parker. And he and I were working through, we had the environmental document going on I-15, and it was kind of a low-key environmental document for such a major project. And we were working through and talking through strategies for how we might deliver that project. We didn't have any funding at the time, and we weren't sure how to do it. And if you recall, Elder Swick had just been called away. He was our executive director to be a general authority for the LDS Church. And so we were in this transition period. There's a knock on the door, and in walks this youngish-looking guy, and he says, "I'm Tom Warren. I heard you're talking about I-15. Tomorrow, Governor Levitt's going to announce me as the next executive director of UDOT. Do you mind if I join you? Do you mind if you join us?" "Sure, Tom. Sit down. Nice to meet you." And Tom was kind of an impatient man. He kind of knew where he was going at all times. And so we didn't get more than a few minutes before Tom asked the really important question. "How long is this project going to take?" Well, I was pretty cocky. I had 10 years of experience under my belt. And I said, 8 to 10 years. And I'll never forget the look he gave me. He put his hand on my thigh, he looked me in the eye and said, "No, it's not. We're going to finish before the Olympics." And I quickly said, "It can't be done." I guess we know who had the last word on that. So we've done some pretty amazing things. And it's hard to imagine that that was 20 years ago. And we've continued on that trajectory of doing incredible things. And the public loves what you do. They support you, and they approve of you. I've talked about this before. Every year we do public opinion polling. And this is important because it's with the public support that we're able to receive the tools that we have to do our job. We got our numbers in last week. I'm always a little nervous about what those numbers are going to say. And that number came in at 76% approval rating for the department. That's up 3 points from last year. That's a big deal. Thank you. That's a big deal. Thank you. Now, I thought I'd provide some perspective on really what that means. So, we chose a very esteemed body to compare ourselves to, and you'll notice that Congress is sitting a little below us there. In fact, they're sitting at 13%. So, I don't know if that makes you feel good or a little disappointed with the job that our Congress is doing right now. But we're heading in the right direction. You're trusted. In fact, you're trusted by the legislature as well. And you know this. They decided to give us $1 billion bond last year because they wanted more of what we do and they wanted it faster. But I saw this demonstrated here just a couple months ago. Governor Herbert called a special session. Now, those of you that may not know, special sessions, they're very far and few between. We're never really excited when we call the legislature back into session because you never know what goes on. But there was several items that needed to be dealt with before the next general session. And UDOT had 2 items on the call. One was pretty simple, the other one was a little bit more complicated. And what was remarkable for me is to see that when both bodies voted, the House and the Senate, on both these items, 100% of the members that were present voted to support the department. It was remarkable to see. And it was because of the work that you do. Think about it. It's everyone in this room, all of us, all the partners, but it's also thousands and thousands of people that are out there today working to keep Utah moving, that help allow us to get that respect and appreciation. Now, a story was just shared with me about Terry Goff. Is Terry here today? People love to make themselves known in these types of venues. I'm not going to make you come up, Terry. Terry works over at the Traffic Operations Center. And she received a call from one of our frustrated customers. And those of you that work in the customer service business, you know what it's like. When an angry customer calls, they want to be heard. Well, this gentleman was complaining about being stuck in congestion, going through some of our construction projects. We did have a few of those going on this year, didn't we? Well, he was frustrated, and he was letting Terry know it, and Terry let him go. Just want to be heard. But before he hung up, this is what I found remarkable. He couldn't help but find a way to compliment UDOT. He said, but your snowplow operators are the best in the West. I travel all over the Intermountain West, and Utah's roads are the best. Well, I think if you were to travel around the entire country, he'd find that they're the best in the country as well. But he couldn't help himself but compliment you for the work that you do. Just amazing. Thank you. Give yourselves a hand. '17 annual conference. It's a pretty neat thing to look out here and see all these folks. Now, Bill recognized some of the conference committee, but I'm going to do a little bit more. I'd like everyone who was involved to make this conference happen, whether you're in an orange or green vest or not, stand up so we could recognize you. Please, everyone who was involved in it. There's a lot of you out there. Please, stand. There's more than that. The planning for this really does start. Probably about a month from now, we'll have our first meeting. And it's always interesting to see, when a certain phone call goes out from Shane to an individual on who might be the next conference chair. And it's interesting to see how different people react. So Shane, I'm sure you have in mind who you're going to be making a call to here in the next couple of weeks for next year's conference chair. So for those of you that have served in the past and those of you that will serve in the future, thank you. I really do love doing these. I think it's so important for us as an organization and as a community for us to have an opportunity to come together. I get a chance to meet old friends. In fact, I was talking to the guy who I met on my first day of working at UDOT. He asked me not to share his name. But meet new friends, learn new things. Bill, I'm going to have to make sure I have my ID on here so I can get my continuing education credits, because I need to keep my license going, because I'll never pass that test again. Or I wouldn't want to try. and also to share what you've learned. I think it's so important that we be willing to share with others. And you think about this, it's easy to share what goes well, but have you also shared things that you tried and didn't work? I think that's almost more important than the other way. Because if you don't share what you've tried and didn't work, we're doomed to repeat it. And so take the opportunity here during this conference to share what you have learned. I like working on putting together this talk. We spend months thinking about where we've been, where we're going. I think about what I want to share with you. Believe it or not, I actually do think about what you might want to hear as well. So I hope you hear something that you might want to hear during this talk. But just I wanted to share with you how I believe our story works. Because in each one of these talks, this isn't throwing something on the wall one year, forgetting about it, something else the next year, and we're just bouncing around. For me, this all has a strategy and a direction. So let me just share with you what I believe that story looks like. During the first 2 years, we talked about UDOT's vision, mission, and our 3 strategic goals. Because it was so important to me that we all be heading in the same direction and that we understand why what we do is so important. And today, these simple words, I believe more so than ever, of keeping Utah moving to strengthen Utah's economy and support our quality of life are more important than they ever have been. They continue to drive the purpose around which we work. And 3 years ago, I spoke about what I consider to be the most important thing we have to deal with every day, your safety. We introduced our behavioral-based safety program. Every employee has been trained in behavioral-based safety, and every new employee, before they get out on the job site, goes through the training as well. Every employee goes home safe and sound every day. There can be no other goal for us all. And 2 years ago, I shared with you my vision for the future of transportation in this country and for the state of Utah. And it was some pretty far-off stuff. But I'm convinced more so than ever that by being able to move into this future of transportation, we're going to be able to use that merger of technology with the automobile to be able to accomplish things towards our safety goals, our mobility goals that we never dreamed possible before. So we're going to be reaching for that future as fast as we can. And then last year, got a little personal. I talked about the importance of us being a values-driven organization. I shared some of my values. I asked you to think about your values. What do you stand for? What motivates you? What makes you, you? So that's what we've talked about in the past. Where are we going today? To me, the next logical step was to talk about how our values, both our individual values and our shared values, make up who we are. Think about it. Our values and how we live them, it makes up something that we call culture of an organization. The culture is the environment in which we work. It's our actions. It's how we treat each other. We all want to work in a place where people feel valued. I want to work somewhere where it's fun. We want an environment that's safe, both emotionally and physically. And we want to be proud. We want to be proud of what we do and what our organization does. And when that happens, great things just naturally flow. So we've been doing more than just thinking about this. And yeah, we've been doing more than talking about it as well. We've been listening. Just this last year, we did an employee survey and over 900 of you participated. in that survey. And this wasn't an easy survey. I mean, this took some time, it took some effort. It took some commitment on your part. This is almost 60% of our organization. Took the time to give us that input on UDOT. That means you care. You care about where the place you work, and you care about the people that you work with. So thank you. Thank you for taking that time. But we then took that information and we broke this down, and we did focus groups and small group discussions where we were able to involve about 150 of you from all areas of the department, regions, all different levels as well. And you told us some very important things. Believe it or not, you guys aren't here for the whopping paychecks. I know that. But you're here because you know what you do makes a difference, and you want to make a difference. You want to be recognized for the hard work that you do, and the work-life balance that you're able to achieve by working here at UDOT is important to you. It enhances your family life, which then supports the work you do here at the department. And you have a very strong personal and professional connection with the people you work with. Now, I know nothing is ever perfect, but what you've been telling us is UDOT's a pretty great place to work. Now, several themes emerge out of all this work. Now, these are words that were important to you now, and they reflect your ideal future for the department. And again, these reflect all areas of our department. They really are our UDOT culture. And they really are who we are right now and who we aspire to be. And those themes are teamwork, trust, and flexibility. These are the things that were important to you, and they rose way above everything else. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you what they mean or why these came out. I'm counting on you guys. We need you in this. And Shane's going to talk to you more about this tomorrow. Well, Shane, you're really not going to talk to them. You guys are going to be talking with Shane. It's going to be pretty cool what we're going to do here. You're going to be interacting in real time tomorrow to help us push this discussion forward. But between now and then, you guys have a homework assignment. So, you ready? I want you to be thinking about times when your experience at this department, and this isn't just for UDOT employees, this is everyone, times in which your work experience, in which you've seen these three words play out, where you've seen these actions being exhibited. We want to know those stories. Those become the stories of UDOT. You'll know more about this tomorrow, but come prepared for that conversation and come prepared to contribute. Now, there's one thing I want to make perfectly clear. This is not a one-time endeavor. This is now part of our culture, that we talk about our culture. I'm a strong believer that with good people doing the right things in the right ways and with the right environment, great things naturally follow. So, what does this mean to us as we move forward? Remember a couple years ago, I talked to you guys about that Jetsons future? It was this kind of far-off vision of what's, cars driving by themselves, cars talking to traffic signals, all kinds of stuff, and we're going to have zero fatalities. And I told you it's coming, and it's coming faster than we expected. But I also told you I had no idea how to get there, but I wasn't worried. Because I knew the people in this room would figure it out. You've proven you can do big things. You've proven that you want to do big things. So today, I'm proposing that we move from the dreaming phase
to the action phase. And I've got 10 steps that I propose that we make together that will get us to that future faster than we ever thought possible. This might be a little wild, so strap on those seatbelts, folks, and let's find out where we're going to go. Number 10. Travel times will decrease in the urbanized areas. Even though the economy is going to continue to grow and people are going to continue to travel more so than ever. I see some of our region directors shaking over here. They're going to decrease. We're going to do great projects. We have enhanced operations of how well we operate the system. More people are going to be using transit. More people are going to be using active transportation. And we're going to increase the use and try to get the message out on traveling wisely. In our culture, we have an innate understanding that we need to keep Utah moving to support the quality of life that we expect and to grow the economy so our children are able to get those jobs that we want them to get. Number 9, it only gets harder from here. We will be the national leader in the evolution and the development of the connected autonomous vehicle. So these are those vehicles of the future. Utah is going to be the place where automobile companies and technology companies come to develop, test, and implement the transportation system of the future. In fact, within 3 to 4 years, I expect connected autonomous vehicles to be a common sight on Utah's roadways. Be thinking about how you guys are going to help us get there. Number 8. We will be the first DOT in the country to have real-time, full situational awareness of our transportation system. We're going to know what's going on everywhere at all times. Think about if we can do that, how well we're going to be able to respond to incidents that are on the roadway. We're going to know if a traffic signal is getting cars through on the first phase or not every single time. We're going to know. We're going to know when a plow needs to be over here or over there. We're going to be able to make sure that we provide to the Transportation Commission the best information possible for them to make program decisions for our projects. We will be the first DOT in the country to do that. In fact, I expect that on July 24th, 2021, the first connected autonomous vehicle will travel from Salt Lake City to St. George in fully autonomous mode without any driver override. That's Pioneer Day, folks. I thought we'd be a little specific on this target. We're going to do it. Number 6. This one makes an engineer really happy. We're going to be the first DOT in the country to go completely paperless. This is from planning to design to construction to maintenance to operations. We will be fully 3D. Everyone will have access to the best information to make the best decisions possible. We will be so much more efficient with the public's money. Number 5, by 2021, with hard work and some ingenuity, our pavements and bridges will be the envy of the country. Well, that's a little bit of a cheat, isn't it? We're kind of already there. But the stretch goal here is we're going to widen that gap more so than ever before. And by 2021, Utahns will be driving on the safest, smoothest, best roads and bridges in the country. A big goal. Number 4, because of our culture of trust, it's going to lead to a whole new level of openness within the department and for the citizens. Everyone, our employees and the public, will know what we do, why we do it, how well we do it, the good and the bad. There are no secrets at the Utah Department of Transportation. This builds trust. In fact, because of that level of trust, we're going to move our public approval ratings from 76% to 90%. Anyone think we can do that? Yes. Now, I got to tell you, the only person in Utah who ever got a 90% was Governor Huntsman. And our PR folks tell me that I can't get 90% of the people in this room to agree I'm wearing a blue suit. But we're going to do it. Because it's so important to have the public support. When the public supports what we do, they give us the tools to do it. Speaking of tools, number 2, every UDOT employee and our partners will have the best training and education available within the next 3 to 4 years. You will have the tools you need to do your job better than you've ever done before. You will not be out there in the field lacking for the knowledge or skills you need to be the best employee possible. Number 1, we will be the safest state and the safest DOT in the country. Now, we're not backing away from zero fatalities, but I'm here to tell you, the last couple of years, we've seen an increasing trend of fatalities on our roadways. By 2016, we saw the fatalities rise to 281. And so today, I'm calling for that by 2021, we drive those fatality numbers down to below 200. Who can tell me how long ago it was we were below 200? 1958. Wasn't that long ago for some of us. 1958, 193 people lost their lives on our roadways. So I'm calling today that by 2021 we'll be below 200. We're going to have to think about doing things differently than we're doing them today. We're going to have some outrageous innovation in order to get there. But we can do this. In fact, for the skeptics out there, let me just cite some recent history. In 2002, 329 people lost their lives. But by 2012, that number had dropped to 217. That percentage drop was greater than what I'm calling for today. We can do this, and we must do this. And as we drive down to zero fatalities, we will become the safest DOT in the country, the safest place to work. We will have the lowest accident rate of any DOT in the country. Every employee goes home safe and sound to their families every single day. No excuses. There you got it. Those are my top 10. Are you with me? Okay. Thank you. That was a little bit of a risk, but I stepped out there. Is this crazy? I don't think so. Scary? I'm not scared. Got you guys. Hard? Absolutely. It's going to be hard. But you guys have done hard before. You're the first DOT in the country to do design build. The first. You're the first DOT in the country to use construction manager general contractor. You were the first DOT in the country to do accelerated bridge construction. And the list can go on and on. You know hard. And based on what we've learned about you this year, about the culture that you've created at this department, you want to be proud of what you do and where you work. You want to do big things, even if they're hard. And that's what makes UDOT great. It's great because of you. You're great. Time and time again, when we ask people what they like about working at UDOT, they give us the same answer.
The people.
The people that I work with.
Be working with these people.
I really get to work with a great group of people.
The people here are wonderful.
People seem to, like I say, look out for each other here.
Working with all the people.
Absolutely wonderful people.
I like the people that I work with a lot.
There's a lot of great people here.
I love the people.
Working with the great people here.
The people.
I feel like it's a family.
So I salute you. I salute you, all of you, the people that make UDOT, UDOT. And I trust you. I have confidence in your abilities to do whatever needs to be done. You've created this culture of teamwork, trust, and flexibility that has us all bleeding orange. You empower us with your excellence, and you drive us with your passion. We are who we are because of you. And we're the best damn DOT in the country. Now and into the future. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a great conference.